All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, I've been talking about the possibility of a lockout in Major League Baseball that could impact the 2027 season. And one of the sticking points for that appears to be that the bulk of the team owners around baseball want a salary cap, as some of the smaller market owners say that it's necessary for them in order to compete with the big clubs. And as I've talked about that, I've also talked about the fact that, hey, you know what? Just because your team plays in a small market, it doesn't mean that you should necessarily throw in the towel and not compete. And that brings me to the Milwaukee Brewers, because the Brewers play in one of the smallest markets in baseball, yet they continue to be undaunted. 7 of the last 8 years have seen Milwaukee finish with a winning record. Okay. And even in the year that the Brew Crew did finish with a losing record, they still managed to get to the postseason. Now, Milwaukee, right now, as we speak, they are currently barreling towards their fifth consecutive winning season. And not enough, in my opinion, okay, is being made of the fact that Milwaukee currently has the best record in baseball. And they're doing this in spite of their low payroll in comparison to some of the big spenders in the National League alone. And I'm talking about the likes of the Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets, and Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, the last month or so, okay, has seen the Brewers be one of, if not the hottest team in baseball. We're talking about the fact that Milwaukee is 20-5 over their last 25 games. And in that stretch, it also includes an 11-game win streak that began just before the All-Star break. And of course, it carried over into the second half of the season. We have seen Milwaukee sweep the season series away from the defending World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. And in winning those games and going 6-0, that has to work great for the psyche of this club. We just saw Milwaukee take 2 out of 3 last week from the Chicago Cubs. And of course, we know that the Brewers and Cubs are currently battling it out in the National League Central. And now Milwaukee has not only caught Chicago, but they've surpassed them, as they have a little bit of a cushion right now over the Cubbies. But nonetheless, we just saw this over the weekend. Milwaukee beat up on the lowly Washington Nationals. They swept the Nats in that series, and they dominated them as they outscored them to the tune of 38-14 in that series. And then we've also seen Milwaukee just keep that theme going as they've been taking care of their business in their current series against the Atlanta Braves. So, how did the Brewers get here, and how do they continue to do it, you ask? Well, this is a franchise that's on a budget. And of course, when you look around professional baseball, Major League Baseball, the teams and the franchises that are on a budget, and the franchises, the smaller market clubs that are able to have some success, they know that they're doing it on a budget. Yes, they're going to consistently, lose guys in free agency to the big market clubs, but it's all about their system. I mean, you just look at Milwaukee alone, okay? Last season, we saw them lose infielder Willie Adames to the San Francisco Giants. He got a big contract, and the Brewers' offense continues to chug along as they're one of the best in the National League this year. They traded reliever Devin Williams to the New York Yankees over the offseason. And of course, their bullpen has not wavered. They knew that they were going to lose Corbin Burns, the former NL Cy Young Award winner. And instead of just allowing him to walk scot free, they traded him to Baltimore. They got something back, and they keep on moving. And then you also cannot overlook the fact that the Brewers allowed longtime manager Craig Counsell to walk after the 2023 season as he joined the Cubs, which added another wrinkle to that rivalry. But in his place has stepped Pat Murphy, and guess what? Pat Murphy is pushing all of the right buttons for the Brew Crew as we speak. And this year alone, I mean, think about it. You know, it wasn't that long ago that David Stearns Milwaukee's longtime president of baseball operations, left to take the same position with the Mets. Yet the Brewers continue to pile up the wins. And like I said before, that's because Milwaukee relies on their system. And in their system, the bottom line is nobody is not replaceable. Okay, they're like, you know what? They just find a way to plug the pieces, plug the guys that fit their system, and they, keep it moving. It's knowing when to get off of someone and knowing when to get something back in return for a player, finding players that are going to fit into your system. And just look at this season alone, because it's not just guys that they've lost in free agency or they traded. Look at the injuries that Milwaukee's dealing with. And we are talking about a club that is staring at 70 wins so far this season, and they would be the first team in the majors this year to get to the 70 win mark. Also, Milwaukee is looking to do something that we have not seen in about a decade. Is they're looking to join the St. Louis Cardinals as the first, who did it back from 2013 to 2015, as the first team to win the NL Central in 3 consecutive seasons. And I'll tell you like this: Milwaukee has themselves a puncher's chance. So you're looking at the Brewers. They're on fire right now. There are people who are probably waiting. Well, you know what? When is the other shoe going to drop? And I feel like this. I think you just got to accept things for the way that they are. And right, clearly, we've still got a lot of baseball to play. We got the bulk of this month as well as September. A lot can change, but nonetheless, Milwaukee is looking like a team that is once again going to be postseason bound. And of course, you ask yourself, if the Brewers get to the postseason, can they find a way to advance and win a playoff series for the first time in 2018? It's hard to believe, but that was the last time that they advanced. Each of the last 2 years, they got to the wild card round. They lost that heartbreaker to the New York Mets at home last year, and the Brew Crew definitely wants to find a way to get over that hump. But nonetheless, if you are a fan of the Brewers, you've got to be excited about this team. You've got to like what you're seeing from this club. And, strange, anything can happen. I like the way that they're playing. Milwaukee definitely wants to keep that momentum going. And the thing I like about the Brewers and thing I like about them on the stewardship with Pat Murphy is, you know what? They know how to have fun, playing ball. You could see that there's a lot of camaraderie with this team, but at the same time, they don't have a mess around attitude in them, meaning they take care of their business against the teams that they're supposed to take care of their business against. Okay. And especially what we've seen over this tear that Milwaukee is on, it's one of those where, hey, you know what? They go out there and they dictate things to their opponent, not the other way around. And I think that's a big reason why Milwaukee continues to pile up wins. I think they're going to continue to pile up wins as the season progresses. Not saying that they're going to win this division, because I think they're going to have a battle with the Cubs when it's all said and done. You also have an improving Cincinnati Reds club in the National League Central. But I think if you are a fan of the Brewers, you definitely probably want to start thinking about the postseason in some shape, form, or fashion. Once again, one of the smaller markets in baseball, but Milwaukee continues to do big things. That's all you can do is tip your cap to them. You got to respect what they're doing. And this Brewers team, this Brewers organization is legit and for real. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. Like I always say, it is greatly appreciated. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, I'll give you that follow back in return. And the same can be said for Instagram, and you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, you can check us out on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports debating groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.